Good afternoon. Welcome back, guys. This is the Jessica Ruth Knits podcast, and this is episode 27. I apologize. I have not recorded in like a month, maybe a little longer than that. So I am very sorry for not recording sooner, but I was rather preoccupied, and I will explain that in a minute. If this is your first time watching my podcast, thank you so much. Welcome. I'm so glad you stopped by. If you're a returning viewer, thank you for coming back. I really appreciate it. Thanks for sticking with me, even though it's been a little while since my last episode. So today is September 20th, and guys, the 13th was my 1-year podiversary. So we missed it by about a week, but we can still celebrate today. So happy podiversary. We have that to celebrate. We also passed 500 subscribers. So I'll be doing something for that, probably a giveaway. And yeah, we have another really big celebration, and I will get into that right now. So if you are new to the channel, you probably don't know that I have been going through IVF with my husband. IVF is in vitro fertilization. Basically, we can't get pregnant naturally. We both, well, mainly I have some internal womanly issues. So science was kind of our only answer to get pregnant. So IVF is where they surgically remove all of my eggs. Like, we had to take a whole bunch of shots up to that point, so that I would produce more eggs. They surgically extracted them, they fertilized them, and then they put one back in. So our really big celebration is we're pregnant. I know it is still super early. We're only 4 weeks, 5 days. So most people don't announce their pregnancy this early, but I feel like my case is a little bit different because you guys have all been on this journey. You all, I mean, for those of you who have been previously watching, you knew what we were going through, and you were praying, and you were sending me all sorts of kind notes, and so we wanted to just give you the news as soon as we had it. We're not like most couples where you would announce it in like your 3rd or 4th month after it's a little more safe, just because you guys would be asking and be curious, and I want to be able to share it with you. And if something happens, I do understand we are super early in the pregnancy. Things happen. We pray that it will be a healthy, full-term baby, but you guys will be along for the journey no matter what. So that is our big exciting news. That is why I haven't podcasted in a while. I had surgery and I was bedridden. I mean, I was not bedridden, but I spent a lot of time in bed recovering, and then we had the transfer, and then just between work and not feeling good, there just wasn't really time to podcast. So back in the saddle today. I have a lot to show you guys. We are in a different location today because it is extremely foggy outside, which means there's not really any good light anywhere in the house. So we are in the guest room today. My sister painted this little Hawaiian lady. And yeah, this is the room that has the most sunlight. So we're here. If the sunlight kind of comes and goes, that's just because it's cloudy, and it was either record today or not record at all. So I figured you guys could put up with some bad lighting to have the podcast. So this is a knitting podcast. This is not an infertility podcast. So let's get into the knitting. All right, a couple of admin things. First, we were doing a stuffy along, and I never really put a hard end to the stuffy along. So I guess it'll kind of just keep going until I know when I'm going back to Arkansas. Oh, that's another thing. If you haven't watched previously, I came out to California to do IVF, and then my husband and I live in Arkansas. So as soon as I am allowed to travel, I will be going back to Arkansas. So currently I'm in California. So everything for all the charity knit-alongs or charity drives that we've been doing, you guys have been mailing them to California. But as soon as I go back to Arkansas, obviously I won't be getting any mail here. So the stuffy along continues, or the stuffy drive continues. And what we're doing is we are knitting, crocheting, or sewing stuffies, otherwise known as stuffed animals, for foster care kids. And I'm going to donate those, and in return, so if you guys send me a stuffed animal that you have made, I'm sending you a skein of indie dyed fingering yarn. So that's kind of the only thing we have going right now as far as charity knitting. Our big baby knit has ended. Oh, I guess we could talk about that. We donated all of our stuff, and I will try to put pictures in here if I can get them from my mom. But we donated all of the baby knits that you guys mailed in, and a representative from the Santa house came and picked them all up, and she was just floored. So she was so beyond thankful. They're gonna do a write-up about us in their next article, or in their next newsletter. So thank you to everybody who contributed to that. I had so much fun putting it on, and I know you guys had a lot of fun knitting and donating and getting your yarn in return. So thank you if you participated in that. And so then we had the stuffy along, or the stuffy charity drive, and that is still going. I guess we'll just keep it going until it kind of tapers off, or until I run out of yarn, or until I go back to Arkansas. So that said, I do have an oops. This is the only mess up I have had this entire charity knitting drive. I threw away the envelope that this came in before I could mail out your skein. So this is an adorable rainbow cat, and I absolutely love it, and it is going to be donated to our foster kids, but I don't know who gave it to me. In all of the craziness of the past month, I lost the packaging for this. So if you made this awesome quilted cat, then let me know, and you can message me on Ravelry, on Instagram, or yeah, those are the two main ones I'm on. But let me know your name, like your full name and your mailing address, and I'll get you out your skein of yarn, because I don't want to gyp anybody. So this is the only one that I messed up on, because everybody else should have your yarn in the mail, and I'm sorry to the person who made this and hasn't got their yarn, and they're probably wondering what in the world happened. So if you made this, get in contact, or if you know who made this, get in contact with me so I can get you your yarn that you deserve. So thank you so much. I'm not going to show all the stuffies. They are so cute, but we have quite a few of them, and this episode's going to be long enough as it is. So I just wanted to show this one because this was my mistake. So I think that is all the admin stuff we have. Yeah. I will let you guys know what I decide to do about the 500 subscriber giveaway. It will either be on the podcast or on Instagram. So keep an eye on those two places. In case you don't follow me on Instagram and you want to, on Instagram, my name is JESSICARUTHKNITS. So it's JESSICARUTHKNITS. I'm there, and I'm on Ravelry as SGTGRIFFSGIRL. So it's SGTGRIFFSGIRL on Ravelry. We also have a Ravelry podcast group. It's the Jessica Ruth Knits podcast group. So there's 3 different ways you can find us. On the podcast group, I have a couple threads open right now. There's one that is asking about your favorite shawl pattern. And that one I'm going to give away the pattern for the can shawl. That is the one I knit maybe a couple episodes ago. It's pink and gray and like a cream colored, the one I did. But it's by Kefren, and you can see it on my project page. But we will be giving away a pattern, and I'll just randomly draw from that. And then there's another thread that asks, what's your favorite baby pattern to make? Whether it's for you, I mean for your child, or for like what's your favorite gift. I am in full baby knit mode, and so I want to know what your favorites are. So stop by the podcast group and let me know. If you want to win the shawl pattern, go ahead and enter in that shawl thread. And if you just want to tell me about your baby knits, then enter in the baby knits thread. So, okay, let's actually talk about some knitting, guys. Let's start with finished objects. I have 3, well, one of them's multiples. Sorry for the crinkling, hold on. Okay, let's do this. These guys. One of these you've already seen before, but last time I showed it, it did not have buttons. So I wanted to show it with the buttons. And the rest you haven't seen, unless you follow me on Instagram. And if you follow me on Instagram, you've probably seen everything in this podcast already. But that's just how it is. So I will start with a pair of socks. I have 2 pairs of socks. These socks, I couldn't find the second one to show you guys, so you're just gonna have to trust me that I made a pair. But I finished my mom's socks. So these are just shorties. They were toe up, fish lips, kiss heel, and just, do you know what I did on these? She wanted the heel to come up a little bit, like in the back, but she didn't want the cuff to come up in the front. So I just added, you can't really tell, some short rows on the back part. So that way it would give a little extra length to the back of the sock without making the cuff in the front. So again, you can't really tell. I just put like 3 maybe, not very many, but just to give it a little bit extra length in the back. But I'm super happy these are done. These were a gradient, and so because she didn't want long socks, this yellow is what it would have turned into. It would have transitioned into green and then into yellow. So I just used one end of the gradient for the heel. So it's not a separate skein or anything, but yeah, I think she will like them. And she has some foot issues going on now, so I'm not sure if she can even wear them, but if she doesn't want them anymore, I will happily add them to my sock drawer. So, mom socks, finished object number 1. All right, let's put that over there. Finished objects number 2 is a pair of socks, and I do have both of them to show you. I didn't even show these on the last podcast because I hadn't started. I don't think I'd started them yet. So I think I'd started and finished these since my last podcast. You can correct me if I'm wrong. But these are my Halloween Franken socks. So this was a kit by Haverland Yarns. And they came, I should have brought them, but they were little minis on little like sewing bobbins, like cross stitch thread bobbins. So they were just like itty bitty. And this is what it looks like. I love it. So there's 2 of them. I just did black for the toe and the heel and the cuff on both of them. This one's folded so you can see it better. Like that. So I just did 10 rows of each color, and you can kind of see when changing colors, I alternated, it's hard to explain. Every 4th stitch is a slip stitch. So that way it gives this little like, it's not a straight line at the color change. But then I alternated placements. So at the beginning of one round, at the beginning of one color, I would do knit 3, slip 1, knit 3, slip 1, etc. And then the next color change, I wouldn't do knit 3, slip 1, I would do knit 1, slip 1. Yeah, so that way the slip stitches are, they're staggered. I don't know if that explains it very well, but it makes sense in my head. So these, the stripes do not match, as you can tell. Yeah, but I love them. and I think they're going to be super cozy because fall is here. Well, some days fall is here. Some days it's like 90 degrees. And I'm in Santa Cruz, so California. It is a beach town, so most of our days are foggy. It is extremely rare for us to get in the 90s, but we even had some days over 100. And nobody has air conditioning, nobody has ceiling fans. We are not cut out for heat here because we never get it. So, oh, here, look. I do have one. I'll show you in a second. Anyways, so when we had the heat wave here, it was ridiculous because nobody's prepared for it. All of my friends who have chickens, all their chickens died because it was such a shock on the system, because it'll be 105 and then it'll be 68 the next day. So it was crazy. We had a couple weeks of that. But now it's back to being foggy in typical Santa Cruz weather, and I love it. I don't know. Okay, I'm going to turn you guys. It might be too bright, but let's try to see. Can you guys see the turtle right there? Yep. He's huge. Huge. He's like 100 pounds. He's a tortoise, not a turtle. Anyways, these are the bobbins that the Franken socks came on. So this is how much I had left after doing stripes on both socks. So that is that. So 2 pairs of socks done. And I'm going to take a sip of my coffee. I had to switch to decaf iced coffee because, yeah, I'm not going to cut out my caffeine completely, because every time I go cold turkey and cut out caffeine, I get violently sick, I get horrible headaches, I throw up. It is not good. So everything I've read says you don't need to cut out caffeine completely. You just need to reduce it and keep it to a sensible amount if you're pregnant. So that is what I'm going by. I don't think it would be healthy on the baby if I was throwing up because I cut out caffeine. So I'm limiting myself to 1 to 2 cups of caffeine a day. Otherwise, I'm drinking decaf. So I work at Starbucks, for those of you who didn't know, and that is why I drink so much coffee. But okay, back to knitting, because that's why you're here. So I did a test knit for her name. Oh, see, here's the weird lighting. It's gonna be weird again. Gabrielle, I'm not gonna be able to say her last name. Dance Knit, I think. Anyways, it'll be linked when it's live on my pattern page. There goes the sun again. But I did a test knit for her for some baby pants, and they're finished and I love them. So these are not for me. These are for my girlfriend who is due in November. She's having a little girl, so I thought these would be absolutely adorable. There is short rows in the back to accommodate for cloth diapering. There is a gusset for the crotch, again, to accommodate for a large diaper. The front is just flat. Yeah, and then legs and ribbing at the top. You could have done eyelets up here and done like an I-cord for a belt, but maybe that would be more helpful if you were doing a larger size, like a 2T. But a baby's pants aren't going to be falling down. I mean, because they're not running, like a newborn is not going to be running anywhere. So I think the pants are going to stay fine. I don't think a belt would be needed on a newborn. So yeah, they're cute and they're little. And these, I think, are what really got me in the baby mood. I committed to do the test knit before we knew if IVF would work for us. So I didn't want to make something for me or for my, hopeful child and then have IVF not work and then not be able to take, or not, I don't know. But my girlfriend is very pregnant, and so I thought she's a safe one to knit baby things for. So she gets the baby pants. And she's here in Santa Cruz, well, close enough. So I'm going to gift these to her soon before I go back to Arkansas, but I wanted to be able to show you guys on the podcast. Like, look how cute ones are folded. They're just itty bitty. So those are finished object number 3. All right, speaking of baby stuff, let me show you this Again, you've seen this before, but last time I showed it, I did not have the buttons on it, and I can't remember if I showed the matching, I can't remember if I showed the set or just the onesie, but I made this onesie. It's hard to show you guys without covering my face. This onesie, and this is for me, well, for my baby. Put these little buttons on it, and buttons up here, and I think it is absolutely adorable. Yeah, it's really hard to show holding it up. Okay, so there's a onesie. Then there's a matching baby hat with a huge pom-pom. So cute. Then, if that wasn't enough, there's a matching pair of socks. Oh my goodness, guys. I can't show it all. The pom-pom's making my nose itch. They're so cute, guys. Look at that. I wanted to do it in a gender-neutral color because obviously we're only 4 weeks along. We don't know what we're having yet. But I figured this would be appropriate for a girl or a boy. So, one skein. I still have quite a bit left. Not quite a bit. I could probably get maybe another 2 pairs of socks out of what I have left. So, one skein of fingering weight yarn got me the baby hat. I just love that pom-pom. The socks and the onesie. So, yeah, I mean, if you only have one skein, this is such a good, like, gift set, and it would only cost you one skein. It was quite a bit of knitting because it is, I believe I did size 0s. I do have a project page for it. The onesie is called Little Sister's Romper. I forget who did it or who's the designer, but again, it's in my project page. They have so many cute patterns, but there's the same version of this in like a DK, I think. But I didn't have any DK, I had fingering, so the Little Sister's Romper is the fingering weight version. But again, I love it. It is super soft. I think it'll be perfect. I don't want to keep talking about our baby, but it's like the biggest news I've ever had. So, our due date is May 25th. So I don't want to knit a ton of like winter sweaters because May in Arkansas is starting to get hot. So that's why I thought this onesie with the little straps, you can just put a like a little white short sleeve onesie underneath or a gray onesie underneath, and the baby won't be too hot. The baby might not get to wear the hat because that might be too hot, but we'll see. I just wanted to knit it because it was cute and little, and why not? So, another sip. My second to last baby knits are some more finished objects, but these are so little it's hard to count them as finished objects. So I made another pair of baby socks. This was yarn left over from my Find Your Fade shawl. I don't know what it is off the top of my head, but I had enough left over from the Find Your Fade to make myself a faded pair of shorty socks, and I still have leftovers. So these were left over from that. They're probably more girly, but I think a boy could wear them. And then these ones. So fun. So these ones, I was knitting just because I was in the baby mood. And my coworker, his wife is having a baby boy, and they're due, I want to say like January or February, maybe even December. I don't know her, so I don't know how big she is. I just know him. But I was knitting them, and he said, "Oh, are you making something for my baby?" And I was like, "No, sorry." And then I was thinking, well, I could give them to him. You know, I don't have any sentimental attachment to this yarn. But then this is what I was knitting when I got the call from the doctor's office saying we're pregnant. So I'm keeping these. Sorry, Evan, but I can make him something different. These now have a sentimental attachment, and they will be going on my baby's feet. So that's a total of 3 pairs of baby socks. And I don't know how many socks a newborn really needs. I can't imagine that many in the summer in the South. So at some point I need to stop knitting baby socks, but they are so stinking fast, so easy, and so cute. It's just hard not to make them. Again, these were knit on 1s. I knit my socks on 0s, but a baby doesn't need a super tight fabric because they're not going in shoes. So this is the baby mitten sock. I think that's what it's called. Pattern on Ravelry. Again, they're in my project page, but if you just search on Ravelry the mitten sock, I think it comes up. I think it's the baby mitten sock, but type in mitten sock, and I think there's only one for babies. So if you want to find it, let me show you this one because this one's easier to see. So it's got ribbing down the front and ribbing up the cuff, and then it's stockinette on the bottom. So I think because of the ribbing, it makes it super stretchy. So I think it'll fit quite a variety of sizes. And the cuff is super stretchy. So if a baby has chubby legs, I don't think it's going to cut off the circulation. But if I have a baby with chubby legs, I can just knit different baby socks. Not a problem. Okay, those are my last finished object. No, yeah, the next one is a work in progress. Okay, last baby knit for now. I wanted to do like a baby mobile. Oh my goodness, somebody sent me in, it smells so good, these little lavender sachets. Sorry, it's gonna get really bright again. They're just little lavender sachets, and you can kind of see, like, this is almost like an open, like a gauzy fabric. I don't know what you would call that, but it's like super open and you can see inside. So they smell so good, and she sent me like 4 of them, so I keep them in my different project bags. So this one is like this farm with windmills. There's little ponds with geese or swans, whatever they are. Super cute. So I keep this guy in there. So as soon as I opened up, it just smelled so good. But what I was gonna say is I wanted to make a baby mobile, and I found this pattern for a cloud, and I thought it would be super cute to knit clouds and then have raindrops hanging down. And if you look on Etsy, there's a ton like that. So it's not a new idea by any means. But again, we don't know what we're having, and I really don't think we're gonna find out if we can hold off long enough. Kind of another side note, but with IVF, everything was so calculated and so scientific, and so, like, I mean, I know the exact moment that I got pregnant. Like, I watched it happen on the screen, so everything was so, there was no mystery in it. You know, it was like, on this day you'll find out if you're pregnant, and so it wasn't like, oh, I think I'm pregnant, you know, like, let me take a test, and there was none of that. So I know there'll be plenty more mystery in pregnancy and once we have the baby, but I kind of think it would be fun to not find out and then just be totally surprised at birth. So that's our plan right now, but we might cave and give in and find out, you know, when it gets to that point, and we can. Because I know I'm going to want to knit all the gender specific things, but I also feel like if now I make gender neutral things, then once the baby's here, if I have knitting time, I can make gender specific stuff. So that was my thinking, and that's kind of why I liked the cloud and the raindrops for a mobile. So I made a cloud. It is super cute, super fun. I held 2 strands double. This is Herbsplat Regina. I don't know if I'm saying it right, but it's kind of maybe not too bad. It's like a scratchier wool. I want to say it's pure wool. So I thought a mobile would be a good plan for it, because it's not up against your skin. I don't know, it might not be so bad now. But I thought those were perfect cloud colors. And yeah, so I'm gonna make a couple of these, maybe three or five, probably three. And then I was gonna have, from each cloud, was gonna hang 3 raindrops. So I found a raindrop pattern and I knit it, and it's way too big. So I will show you because you will all laugh and say, this will not work. Yes, it will not work. And I meant to snip that, but like that. So if you had 3 hanging down, they would like all hit like those knockers on desks. So that's not gonna work. So I made it smaller, and I did a pink one just to see the size comparison. This one is so much better. It's gonna be like that. So I'm gonna make, they're all gonna be this size now. I'll take this guy off. Sorry, this is like super dizzying, but yeah, so I'm just gonna use different colored scraps that I have in my stash and knit some raindrops, so it'll be like multicolored. Yeah, I don't know what else to tell you guys about that. So I have one cloud done. The second cloud, the pieces are done. I just need to sew it together. So there's one piece and the second piece. Not very exciting. So I just need to seam it together and stuff them, and then make some more raindrops. So that, I started that right after my surgery, and I wanted to knit something baby-ish, but not, I don't know. I was feeling optimistic, but I was also trying to be cautious in case it didn't work. So I thought a cloud I could just throw away if we didn't get pregnant, and if I was mad. But I'm glad I didn't, and I love them, and I think it'll be super cute hanging up in the baby's crib, or hanging over the baby's crib. Yeah. So that is my last baby knit work in progress, and I have 2 more works in progress, and then I'm done with my knitting for you guys. But sorry, it's super distracting in here because there's windows like all here, and then a window, the one I showed you guys, the tortoise out. So there's a lot going on outside, and it's super blustery. So the umbrellas are moving, and I get distracted really easy. Okay. So I'm doing 2 knit-alongs right now. I'm doing the Andrea Mowry, the Fade Along, and that one's a mystery knit-along. So Andrea Mowry, I'm sure you guys know who she is, but she is the designer of the Find Your Fade shawl, which is huge, and it's one of my absolute favorite shawls that I have knit to date. I wear it all the time when it's not 105. And so she was doing a mystery knit along. So our knit group at the local knit shop here decided to do it, and obviously you don't know, even you know it's gonna be a shawl, but until you get that first clue, you have no idea what it's gonna entail. So it entails brioche, and 2-color brioche, and it's a triangular shawl, so there's increases in brioche, and it was a little bit more complicated than the group was expecting. And I have only ever done brioche one time. Brioche is such a fun one to say. I feel like I'm saying it wrong, but I'd only ever done it once, and that was like 2 inches maybe, and that's in the Stephen West Exploration Station shawl. And that was 2-color brioche, but it was such a quick, it was only like 2 inches, and so after that I haven't done any brioche since. So while I can do it, I have ripped this thing out multiple times. Once I ripped it completely back to the cast on. I originally started it on size 3 needles, but it was way too loose, and I was just gonna keep going. I wasn't gonna bother with it. I figured I would just have a loose shawl, whatever, it's a shawl. But I missed the increases twice, and you can't just fudge it in brioche, not like garter. Normally I would just fudge it, you know, and say, what the hell, like, nobody's gonna notice it. But in brioche, you're gonna notice it. And I did it twice, so it wasn't just one. Yeah, so I decided, since I had 2 big mistakes, that I needed to rip it back, and if I was gonna rip it all the way out, I might as well start with a smaller needle. So I went from a size 3 to, am I doing a 0? No, I might be doing a 1 now. What is it? US 1. That's fine. Sorry. You guys can just stare at me here. So I'm doing it on a 1 instead of a 3. And I love it. So if you guys don't want to be surprised by the mystery knit along, then don't watch right now. I will say I'm only on clue 2. Clue 3 is already out. Clue 4 comes out tonight. So I'm quite a bit behind. So if you're knitting this, you will not, you're probably already ahead of me. So you probably won't be surprised. But I'm going to show it, so if you don't want to see, close your eyes or look down at your knitting or something. Look at that. So this is the main side. I'll show you guys up close. And then the back side is dark purple. So I absolutely love the colors. I'm not huge on how it stripes at the color change, but it is what it is, and that's part of a fade. Again, I think the front is more prominent in the striping. After this, so I'm on clue 2, which is quite a bit more of the brioche in the darker color. Then it goes to garter stitch. So I'm super excited to look forward to the garter stitch section. But I still have a ways to go before I get there. So what I was doing when I would forget the increase is, you know, you start knitting and you do an increase on this edge, then you go and you go and you go and you increase in the center, and I would do those two, and then I would just get in the groove of doing brioche and I would forget this increase like multiple times. So yeah, and I've done it now since I ripped it out. I've done it a couple times and I've either gone back a couple rows down and fixed it, or I feel like you can fudge it if it's close enough, but it was too far off originally to fudge it. So yeah, this has been super fun to knit, but it's also super challenging, and this is not the kind of knit I can do in public. I mean, like, I can do it in public if I have headsets on, but not at like a social gathering. So this is our Wednesday night knitting project, but I take something else because I can't knit on brioche and do the increases and keep track and chit chat with friends. So this is more reserved for home, sitting on the couch, or watching Game of Thrones, where I can just be quiet and concentrate on the brioche. Let me show you the yarn I'm using. This bag feels like it has way more skeins than it should. Probably because it does this one and this one. I don't know why there's so many extra skeins in here. Okay, so my first two colors were these two. And then my second two colors are these two. And then my final two colors are gonna be these two. I think it's gonna be so pretty. Yeah, so this one, the pattern is called What the Fade. Again, it's mystery knit along. Clue 4 comes out tonight. I'm only on clue 2, so you're probably way ahead of me if you're doing it. But if you want to knit a fade and you are afraid of brioche, or you want something that's more manageable and you haven't done the Find Your Fade, I highly suggest the Find Your Fade. It was so fun to knit. It's all garter stitch and a little bit of lace. So if you're wanting to do a fade, because everybody's doing a fade right now, I highly suggest the Find Your Fade by Andrea Mowry. Yeah, I love that one. I'll probably make another one at some point, but right now I have way too many works in progress going to start another fade. So, I also wanted to show you this huge basket. It's huge, that I got. Now, I've been wanting one of these. I'm gonna put it down because it's so big. Well, I'll show you. It's like this. It's got one handle. It's like that. It's huge. That right there is 6 skeins. So I keep all of my project bags that I'm working, like actively working on, in here. And then I can take this whole basket to knit group and have everything in a basket. But I've been wanting one for a long time. But online, they sell for like $100 for the big ones. And I just couldn't fork over $100 for a basket. No matter how bad I wanted them. And, you know, sometimes they would go on sale, but then shipping would still be expensive. So I was like, you can live without a basket. It's okay. But Wednesday nights is our knit group. Wednesday night is also the local farmers market here. And everybody's carrying around these baskets. So I asked one girl, I said, where did you get your basket? And, because I'm thinking, all these people at the farmers market did not spend $100 on a basket. Like, I'm sure they didn't. So I asked this random stranger, and she's like, oh, I got it at the local food store. So we have like a local natural food store, kind of like a Whole Foods, but a local version and not nearly as expensive. And so I went in and I didn't see any. And I saw some little ones like up on top of the dairy case. I was like, I don't want a little one. Then they had this back section, and I went in that little back room and they had all these baskets. And so they were up tall, like up high, and so I couldn't reach them. And I wasn't going to climb on their ladder and try to get them. And underneath the baskets, you know, so they're up high, but underneath it had a price tag, and it said $35. But there was a whole bunch of different sizes baskets. And so I thought, for sure, it's $35 for the little one. Like, that would make sense. So I went and got a lady that worked there. I said, can you grab, you know, the big basket down so I can look at it? And can you tell me how much it is? I was thinking anything over $50, and I'm not doing it. Because, again, I don't want to spend a ton of money on a basket. So she's like, oh no, the price tag's right there, it's $35. And I'm like, for the big one? Are you sure? And she's like, well, let me get it down, we'll scan it. Sure enough, it was $35. I paid the lady and I ran out of the store. It's like, before you change your mind, I'll take it for $35. So, if you guys want baskets, I didn't even cut the tag off it yet. And this one was like fair trade, woven in Africa, something like that. There's even a leather tag on it. I can't read it. It just says Africa baskets. And it says like, can you guys see the tag right here? It's like written in the address. I don't even know what it is. It's in African. But, or whatever dialect that might be. I don't know. But local, like, fair trade hand woven basket for $35. So check out your local like natural food store and see if they sell them, because it was quite a deal and I didn't pay $100 online. So that's my basket story. I just thought for those of you who are on a budget but yet still want a fun basket, that's a good idea to find one. Okay, one more work in progress and then that's all the knitting. My mom, my mom just texted me. I don't know if you guys can see this. She says, guess who is knitting? There. So my mom and my dad took my little cousins to the Giants game today. It's a day game, and so they're there right now. And I taught my cousin Kylie how to knit socks. And so my mom just sent me a picture of her, Kylie, knitting her sock at the ball game. So it makes my little knitter's heart proud that A, she wants to knit socks, and B, that she's confident enough to knit a sock in public at the ball game. Like, I love that. I love that. So, yeah, Kylie. Okay, last work in progress. This is gonna be crinkly because it's just in a plastic bag. There is there's quite a few cows going on right now. but the one I'm doing is the Hohi Fall Cowl. And a viewer commented that I need to enunciate more, so I'm really trying to speak clearer. But if you guys are like, why is she talking like that? Then that's why. Hopefully when I get back to Arkansas, I might get like a microphone. But I'm not going to order any stuff like that until I'm not in California anymore, because I don't want to have to ship it all back to Arkansas. So, okay, I'll put that down, and then hopefully that will minimize the crinkling. The Hohi Fall Cowl. You had to sign up in Hohi's group, and you had to say what you were doing. Excuse me. So you can't just change your mind mid-cowl. And again, there's no pressure, so if you want to change your mind, do, but then you are not eligible for her prizes. So you had to pick what project you were going to do, and you had to announce it in the group, and then you get a prize if you do that project, from what I understand. So I wanted to knit the Old Romance cardigan, which is a cardigan, obviously, by Joji Locatelli. Joji is, if you don't know, it's J-O-J-I. A lot of people say Joji, but she is Latin American, and so it's Spanish, so it's Joji. So the Old Romance cardigan, let's see if I have a picture of it. Oh, here, that's how you spell Joji, in case you couldn't understand what I was saying. I probably don't have a picture because I print it to try to save ink. But maybe. Oh, here, okay. I do. Okay. It's like that. So it has this really pretty lace paneling down like the sides of the sleeves. And then it's just open in the front. Now, if you guys know my history about knitting patterns like this, I never follow the pattern. I more take a pattern as a suggested guideline, and then I do whatever the hell I want to. This stemmed from me being a larger person. I always have to to change a pattern to fit my body style anyways. And then that just, from doing that so often, it kind of made me, I don't know how to describe it. Like, I like this cardigan. I don't think I would wear it like that. I did the Mama Vertebrae cardigan, which again is like this. Like, it just hangs almost to the side of your boobs. Like, it doesn't cover your boobs. And I don't like that. Like, it's a super cute cardigan, but I keep wanting to, you know, like, to close it over me and just like wrap up in it. So I don't like wearing cardigans that just hang like right under the armpit. To me, that doesn't really do anything. And again, this pattern is long sleeve. I am always hot, and I figure I'm gonna be pregnant, so I'm gonna be even more hot. So I don't really do long sleeve sweaters, even in Arkansas in the winter, because if I'm inside, we have a wood stove. So it's always like, once the stove gets going, it's super warm inside. And I can always pile on, you know, like more shawls, or I can put a sweatshirt on until it gets hot, or until it gets warm in the house, because the wood stove takes forever to heat up. And then once it's like cold, 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 and then it's perfect, and then it's too hot and you have to open the windows. But, so all of this is to say, I don't really wear long sleeve sweaters. I work at Starbucks, so I don't like long sleeve clothing there. So I didn't think I would wear a long sleeve sweater, but I still really wanted to make this. So I'm gonna do it short sleeve. But the problem is, this pattern is not written, how to describe it. Okay, you knit the entire lace panel for the sleeve. Okay, then you pick up, so if the lace goes here, you pick up all of these stitches and you knit the sleeve down this way. So most sleeves are going this way. So most sweater patterns, all I do is stop the sleeve right about here and add some ribbing and I have a sleeve. But this one, you can't do that because the sleeve goes this way. So the pattern is not easy to just make the sleeve shorter. So you have to change it anyways. Okay, so that got me thinking, like, I want to do this pattern, but I'm already gonna have to do crazy amending to make it short sleeve. So what else do I want to amend while I'm at it? Well, I don't like I said, I don't like that it just hangs down here. So I want it to be more of a V-neck. Then I'm like, well, if I want it to be a V-neck, I might as well make it a cardigan, because that's what I wear most often. I mean, not a cardigan, a pullover. That's what I wear most often. Because if I wear cardigans, I have quite a large bust, so they just tend to like pull open, and then it looks really trashy, and it looks like I don't have a sweater that fits, and I'm constantly like tugging it back to make it lie flat down the button band. So I decided if I'm gonna totally alter this pattern, I might as well make it a cardigan. I mean a pullover. Yeah, so that's what I'm doing. Don't ask me how I'm doing this because I'm making it up as I go, which is not very like nice to say on a podcast. But we'll see. I might realize this is not gonna work and rip it out, but as of right now, this is what I'm trying. I don't know if once I'm trying to write it down as I go because I have to do the same thing on the other side and on the back. So I don't want one side to be different than the other. So I am writing it down. I'm not sure if I will put it all in my Ravelry notes or if it would be too confusing and I'll just leave it at that, like do it yourself kind of. I know that sounds bitchy, but my notes make sense to me and I don't know if it'd be more of a hassle to try to write them out for people. But anyways, I have the lace in green, which I absolutely love. I'm not sure how long I'm gonna make it, so I just put it on needle holders because then I can add to it if I need to, or I can just put the ribbing on. So it'll be like this right there. See, I think that's gonna be long enough. By the time you do, you'll have ribbing up here. That'll stretch. It's so hard to show. It'll stretch out and then there'll be ribbing. Whatever, I'm not gonna show it. But there'll be like an inch of green ribbing here. So I think it should be long enough. But yeah, so you guys see it better that way. I'm making this increase here for a V-neck. I'm increasing here for the sleeves. And yeah. Does that help or does that just confuse things? I don't know, but that's my old romance. And as you can see, I haven't got very far because it is a lot of brain power and a lot of math, which I love the math part. But I cast that on, I think before I cast on the Fade Mystery, or like right at the same time. And the Fade one has been taking all of my brain power knitting. So it's kind of like I don't have enough brain power to do 2 thinking projects. So I need to focus on one and then do mindless projects like my socks or the baby knits. Yeah, so we'll see. But every time I look at the old romance, I get really excited about it. Another thing I'm going to show you, and I've showed this on a previous podcast, see if I can get these out. And again, sorry about the crinkles. Okay, this is the yarn I'm using right now. But I don't have a sweater's quantity of any yarn. So all of my sweaters are faded or close enough that you can't really tell. But these ones, you'll definitely be able to tell. So I'm missing the skein that's going to go in between this one and the third skein is in the other room because I'm going to wind it up. So there will be another one after this. but it'll go from this skein to the missing one, to this one, to this one, and then I'm not sure if I'll add this gray one in, or I think this might be enough because it'll be 4. So it'll kind of be a subtle fade, and I think that'll be fine. They're all gorgeous colors, and they all play well with each other. So it is what it is. I wanted to knit a sweater. I didn't have a sweater's quantity of yarn, so this is what you get. Yeah, so we'll see if I continue or if I rip it out, but right now I still like it. So, okay, that is all the knitting I have for you. We're already at 55 minutes, so it's a long episode. I think I've told you guys everything I need to tell you. I haven't thought of any genius ideas for the 500 subscriber giveaway, so I will announce that on Instagram once I have some inspiration. And Instagram will tell you what you need to do to enter to win. I have a project bag that I sewed and a skein of yarn, and I'll probably throw in some other goodies. So I have the prize for the 500 giveaway, but I haven't thought of what I want you all to do. So yeah, watch Instagram. I'm sorry if you're not on Instagram, but I'm on Instagram like day and night. Also, speaking of Instagram, I have been destashing a bit of yarn, both to make room for baby and to raise money for baby. And I need to go back to Arkansas, so that's a plane ticket and all that. So I've been destashing some yarn. So if you're looking to buy yarn, it's all indie dyed, it's all fingering. Then keep an eye out on my Instagram page because I sell it there. Usually it's about $15 plus shipping, so it's a good deal for you guys. And it's a lot of like big name indie dyers. So if you guys can't catch their updates or their yarn is too expensive, I feel like this is a really good way to offer you guys yarn at a price that is affordable for somebody that can't afford the normal yarn. I also have a bunch of project bags up, so, and I post them completely randomly, so that way it's just fair and everybody has a chance. Yeah, I'm not sure how much more I have to sell because I'm keeping quite a bit of my stash, but there's some of it I'll just never get to, so I'm selling that to earn money and make some room in my room. Yeah, I will try to be back on a regular schedule with podcasting now that things have kind of settled down. We have our 6-week ultrasound next week on Friday, so hopefully, if all is going well, we will hear the heartbeat and just kind of assure me that baby is healthy and still growing. And that's kind of the scary ultrasound because that's the one when they would find out if it's like a chemical pregnancy or ectopic, if it's not growing where it needs to be growing, or if you're gonna lose it, or if it stopped growing. I mean, I know at any point baby can stop growing, but the 6-week one, it's the first, and so it's kind of nerve-wracking. But yeah, as far as pregnancy symptoms go, I'm not nauseous yet. My boobs are so sore, like so sore, and they feel like gallon jugs of water or milk. Like they just feel so heavy, or like I imagine like a squash hanging on the vine and it's just so heavy. So that's like my only real pregnancy symptom right now, and I'm tired. I am so tired. I will wake up in the morning and an hour later I just want to take a nap. So I haven't been very productive with anything really. Not even knitting. Most of the knitting was done like last week or a couple weeks ago. Yeah, if I'm home, if I'm off work, I'm probably taking a nap. So thankfully, so like right now it's just me and my parents. Thankfully they're super excited. but they're also super understanding. So as soon as I say I want to take a nap, they're like, go take a nap. Baby needs a nap. So they've been allowing me to kind of step away from social engagements, like the game today. They asked if I wanted to go, and I didn't really. I mean, I wanted to go, but I also knew it would just completely exhaust me to go. So I said no, and they didn't get offended that I didn't want to go, which they're not really the type of people to get offended anyways, but it's nice that they understand that I don't want to do a lot of social things because I just want a nap. So, yeah, like tonight's knit group, I'm not sure if I'll go because I might just go to bed early, but today I had more energy, and so I went on a walk. I did like 1.5 miles, and then I went downtown and had a sandwich for lunch and mailed off a bunch of packages from people that I got yarn, and then came home and podcast. I'll probably go on an afternoon walk if I feel up to it, but then that might wipe me out, so I might be in bed after that. But we'll see. I'm anticipating morning sickness. At night, I start feeling not so great. I'm peeing a lot, but I think that's because I'm drinking a lot of water. So I don't think that's like a pregnancy thing. I think it's just everything I've read says drink as much water as possible. So I have been trying to seriously up my water intake and lower my coffee intake. So I'm going to the bathroom quite a lot. But yeah, I think that's all. I feel fine. Since I am a larger person, you're not going to see a bump anytime soon because there's already lumps and bumps there, and you won't be able to tell what's large person bumps versus what is baby bump. So don't look for any bump pictures anytime soon. But yeah, so exciting news all the way around. Pregnancy, 500 subscribers, and podiversary. Yeah, so guys, thank you so much for making it all happen. I wouldn't have a podiversary if you guys didn't keep watching my videos, so I appreciate that. I wouldn't have 500 subscribers if you guys didn't like the videos, so thank you. I really appreciate it. I'm going to try to keep the pregnancy talk down in the episodes in case I do want to be sensitive to those who are not pregnant or who want to be pregnant, you know, but like I was like don't want to hear about it. So I'll probably in upcoming videos be adding that in on the end, kind of like I tried to do with IVF, or if you guys don't want to hear about it, you can just turn it off and you will have already heard all of the knitting content. So in the future, that's what I will try to do. I'm sure it will slip in here and there, but today that was the big announcement, but you guys have already seen the announcement on Instagram, so it probably wasn't a surprise to you. But yeah, so thank you for watching, and I hope you all have a great week. I'm going to get this uploaded, and yeah, happy knitting. I'll see you guys next time.